Picking a city or a town to retire in is a huge decision. And while I haven't retired myself, I do know what it feels like to relocate to a place that is completely unknown to you. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're thinking about Salem as a destination to retire to. But my guess is that you haven't yet decided if Salem is the right place for you. You might already have a romanticized version of Salem and how great it is. Or you might be on the opposite side and are shrugging your shoulders at the idea of retiring in Salem. No matter your current perception of Salem, we're gonna knock that all out of the water and start from scratch. My goal for this video is to give you a bit more information about the pros and cons about what life is like when you retire in Salem.
My name is Clarity Odd and I'm a real estate agent here in Salem. I make videos for you, my future clients who are relocating and retiring to Salem just like I did. And while I am not at the age of retirement, I do have plenty of clients who relocate to Salem for that very reason. And I am not going to pretend like I have all the answers when it comes to retiring in Salem, but I did do a little bit of homework and I've asked my past clients to give me their pros and cons so that you can have a true understanding of the benefits and the negatives of retiring in Salem from those who have done exactly that. If you're buying a home here in Salem and you want to work with us in the home buying process, go down to the description of this video where you're going to find all of our contact information. Reach out so that we can help you. Okay friends, let's jump right in. This is a pros and cons video, so I'm first going to start with the cons of retiring in Salem because if any of these cons are just too much for you, there's no point in talking about the benefits or the pros of retiring in Salem. Con number one is that Salem lacks some simple infrastructure. The infrastructure that's lacking could make a big impact on the city. For example, Salem does not have its own news station. So the closest news station and the TV that we get is from the news reports in Portland who travel down to Salem to report on the Salem news. That means if you're wanting local news, you're going to have to go onto the internet or to a local Salem newspaper, which honestly, I don't even know what that newspaper is called because I don't read the newspaper anymore. But I do know that my favorite retirees, you guys read the newspaper and you do like to watch the news. So if that's something that's really important to you, just know that the news about Salem will be coming from news stations up in Portland. Before I move on to my next point, if you're enjoying this video so far, give me a thumbs up and tell me in the comments where exactly you're thinking of retiring from. Con number two on our list is the fact that while we do overall have pretty moderate weather, we are starting to see more extreme weather. So in the summertime, we do have stretches where the weather gets to be over 100 degrees, and we are seeing that more frequently in the wintertime. We are getting more snow and more ice storms. Beyond the extreme weathers that are becoming more and more common, our winters are filled with a lot of rainy days and gray skies. If you are somebody who is not used to the rain in the winter time and the gray skies and not seeing the sun for weeks on end, it can be a really tough adjustment. A lot of my retiree clients will actually leave Oregon for a month or two in the wintertime to travel to sunny locations so that they don't get seasonal depression. Because yes, seasonal depression is a big thing here, and it's something that you should seriously consider if you are not used to the Pacific Northwest or our winter weather patterns. Con number three on my list is that Salem is car dependent. I do have clients who utilize the local bus system here in Salem, but from my perspective, coming from a big metropolitan area like Portland, the Salem bus system is very limited. For this reason, I would say that Salem is car dependent and you really do need to have some consistent mode of transportation to get anywhere in Salem. No matter where you end up purchasing a house, it is likely going to take you 20 minutes to get anywhere in Salem. It's kind of a joke at this point because you really could be anywhere in town and your destination will inevitably end up being 20 minutes away. But jokes aside, if you don't have a car, you might find it difficult to access things like grocery stores and different activities around town. I would classify Salem as not a very walkable city. So it's not a place where you can just open up your front door and walk to the grocery store. If that's something that you are looking for, there are just a handful of neighborhoods that will be be conducive to that lifestyle. But this is why you talk to me about what you want and the season of life that you're in, and then we can figure out based on your lifestyle what neighborhoods you would actually fit into. Con number 4 on my list is that downtown Salem is a destination. There's not a lot of residential living in downtown Salem, which means if you're retiring and you like to mingle and you like to be out on the town, you're gonna find that you need to drive into downtown if you are wanting those downtown activities and urban vibe. Because there's a lack of residential living in downtown Salem, downtown can become very quiet at night and feel a little bit limiting in terms of overall city, urban, metropolitan vibes. So if you're coming from a big city, if you're coming from Seattle, Portland, LA, New York, Chicago, Texas, Dallas, I don't know, wherever you are coming from, if it's bigger than 200,000 residents, you're gonna feel a big shift in the downtown vibes here in Salem. Those are my list of cons. So if any of those items feel like they would not work for you, then Salem might not be the place for you. And that's okay. Salem is not right for everyone, and your retirement needs might be different than Salem. If the cons I listed are not big issues for you and you're just like, oh, whoop-de-doo, this sounds like a great place, then stick around because we are going to be jumping into pro number 1, which is that Salem is in a perfect location to just about everything in Oregon. If you go 45 miles north, you're going to go into Portland, and then you can also be at the mountains or the Oregon coast or the Oregon desert in just about an hour and a half to maybe 2.5 hours, depending on where you're going. Salem is located in the Willamette Valley, which makes it an incredibly lush part of Oregon, and you're always going to have activities that are easily accessible to you, whether that is going to one of the many parks that we have in Salem or hopping in the car and driving to any of the amazing coastal cities that we have close to us. For those of you who don't like the idea of living in Portland, but you like the idea of being close to a big city and having an international airport, a really great food scene, and big museums, then you're going to find that Salem is a perfect compromise. You're far enough away from Portland where you really don't have to deal with the big city problems, but you're close enough to Portland to dip in and out of the city as you want. Pro number 2 on our list is that there's always something going on in Salem. Salem has a really, really wonderful public library located in the downtown area, and they have some of the best activities around, whether you're wanting to learn a new skill or a hobby, or you're just wanting to connect with other people in one of their different clubs. I think it is the best centralized resource to better understand what kind of events and activities are available in the library, but also within the rest of Salem. The library does a really good job in hosting its own events, but also letting you know what's going on around the city. It seems like Salem in the summertime always has a different outdoor event going on, and I think for this reason, people are really attracted to Salem. It's a small town, but it's not necessarily a sleepy town. The city puts on a lot of different activities on the waterfront in the summertime, and in the fall time, you can drive to Mount Angel, which is just about 20 to 30 minutes away, and go to Oktoberfest, and in the springtime, you can check out the Tulip Festival or the Iris Festival. There are just so many different things going on in and around Salem that you are never going to be wondering what you should do with your day. And one last point that I would love to mention is Silver Falls is probably within about 30 to 45 minutes of Salem, and it is one of the most spectacular state parks that you can go to. You can rent a cabin and spend the night there at the Smith, oh God, what's it called? I can't remember the name exactly. It's like Smith Camp or something like that, but you can rent a cabin there. You can go check out the many waterfalls in that state park. It is phenomenal and really nice because it has paved paths, and so you don't need to worry about muddy wintertime hikes. Nobody likes that. Pro number 3 is the overall cost of living. This is a very relative point because depending on where you're coming from, you're either going to see Salem as incredibly expensive or incredibly cheap. But I am putting this on the pro list because if you're comparing the cost of living or the cost of real estate in Salem to the rest of the West Coast, then yeah, Salem is incredibly affordable. If you're comparing the cost of living in Salem to a lower cost of living place, Salem will still feel pretty darn expensive, as is the whole entire West Coast. So it really just depends on perspective for this point. A lot of retirees end up picking Salem over Portland because you can get a bigger, better house in Salem with the same or a lower budget. If you're somebody who's interested in getting acreage or a hobby farm, or you want to move into a retirement community, Salem provides a lot of different options in regards to the kind of real estate that is available to you. Salem has many different golf course communities, which are very popular with retirees, and these communities do offer one-story living, luxury homes, country club amenities, and of course, easy access to really great golf courses. And full disclosure, I don't play golf, and so I don't know if the golf courses are actually that good. I'm just basing this on what my clients tell me. So if you're a golfer and you get to that golf course and you're like, oh my God, Clarity, you're atrociously wrong, I'm sorry. Golf course living isn't something that you can necessarily find in Portland in the same way that we have it available in Salem. And then the cost of golf course living in Salem is significantly lower than what is available in Portland. If you haven't already done so, go down to the comments and tell me where you are thinking about retiring from. And give me a thumbs up if you've learned anything new in this video. Pro number 4 is that Salem has a great hospital. Salem's hospital is located in downtown Salem and it is very accessible to you no matter where you end up living in Salem. I would say if you decide to live in West Salem, you do have to be mindful that you're gonna have to cross the West Salem Bridge to get over the Willamette River into downtown Salem, and that bridge does get kind of congested often, so that's something to keep in mind if you're gravitating towards West Salem. But in regards to any other section of Salem or Kaiser, the hospital is pretty darn easy to get to. And of course, if the Salem hospital does not offer you the kind of healthcare amenities that you're needing, traveling an hour north and going into Portland, where you can hit up OHSU or any of the other major hospitals up that way. If you've enjoyed this video and you're ready to learn more about Salem's golf course communities, you, my friend, are going to want to watch this video next. Bye!